Based on the production KTM 450 SXF, the factory edition line concept actually began in 2010. 7 years later, KTM has become a dominant force in both AMA Supercross and AMA Motocross, winning 3 consecutive Monster Energy AMA Supercross championships, 2015, 2016 and 2017, and 3 Lucas Oil 450 cubic centimeters Pro Motocross championships, 2012, 2014 and 2015. Each KTM 450 SXF factory edition bears the fruit of an extra-long development cycle. Whereas the production machines are introduced each June, the factory editions aren't unveiled until December, affording KTM's R&D and test teams every opportunity to further refine and develop them before they are released just prior to the start of the AMA Supercross season. The 2018 KTM 450 SXF Factory Edition marks the third generation of the model, and it features significant changes when compared to the previous 450 SXF Factory Edition. The 2018 KTM 450 SXF Factory Edition boasts a lot of refinement to improve the handling even more. The key goals were to optimize the chassis stiffness while also making the motorcycle more comfortable to ride. KTM engineers redesigned the front portion of the factory edition frame from the steering head area of the frame down to the lower down tubes below the engine. The 2018 chassis is claimed to be 7 to 10% stiffer longitudinally in those areas because testing also revealed that the chassis loads can vary greatly during suspension compression. Stiffening the front helps to keep the chassis more torsionally rigid without sacrificing the great feel of the previous generation chassis. To enhance that front triangle stiffness, the 2018 KTM 450 SXF Factory Edition also receives a stiffer aluminum triple clamp. The clamp offset is 22 mm out back, a 40 mm longer aluminum subframe adds to the chassis stiffness. While they were at it, KTM engineers also lowered the radiator positioning on the frame by 12 mm and stiffened the T-section at the top of the radiators, as well as changing both the upper and lower radiator tanks, which helps improve cooling while also moving the radiators closer to the frame. KTM didn't leave the 449cc SOHC 4-stroke engine in the 2018 450 SXF Factory Edition alone. The engine shaves another pound off the package while also being shorter for better mass centralization. To capitalize on head and exhaust port changes, the 2018 KTM 450 SXF Factory Edition also receives a new exhaust system with a head pipe that exits the exhaust port in a much straighter fashion than the previous version, a new mid-pipe that hides the resonance chamber inside the pipe, and a much shorter muffler. The head pipe joint has also been repositioned to make it easy to remove the header without having to remove the shock absorber. To reduce drag inside the engine, the cam also gets a slicker surface treatment and rides on low-friction DLC rocker arms that bump open the factory edition's titanium intake and exhaust valves. Other refinements to the 2018 KTM 450 SXF Factory Edition include new bodywork, including the gas tank, radiator shrouds and other bodywork. Another change is the incorporation of 5 mm longer rear wheel axle slots to give the 2018 KTM 450 SXF Factory Edition even more wheelbase adjustability. The Factory Edition also receives skid plate mounts on the chassis. The chassis changes required alterations to the shock settings of the 450 SXF Factory Edition. In addition to valving changes, the Factory Edition's fully adjustable WPDCC shock also gets a new piston.